Keep yourself in the loop of everything football. Listen to Alex and Jeremiah on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Hello there, I'm Jeremiah.
I am Alex, always and forever here.
Dedicated to college and NFL football. The latest football news on and off the field. NFL draft trade rumors. We've got you covered from the NFL, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC, and everything else in between. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, where we discuss the latest news, rumors, and games of the NFL and college football, from the latest signings to this year's breakout stars and all of the news in between. As always, I am Alex.
And I'm Jeremiah.
Hey, man.
What's up?
Nothing. How was your weekend?
I actually visited my parents near Fresno, so that was pretty nice.
Oh, you went to Fresno again?
Yeah, I went. I drove up about Thursday afternoon and came back last night, so yeah. It was a pretty good time. I spent like 3 days there, so it was nice. It was nice to spend time with my parents.
Yeah, it is
get
always
to do
nice.
that free laundry and some free home cooked food.
It's
yeah.
not free where you live?
What
The
do you
apartment
mean?
complex? Laundry's not free? You don't have a laundry machine?
No. I have to pay. I hate. Yeah,
That's
the
silly.
only.
I feel like if you have a...
That's the only flaw in my apartment that I have.
I
Is
feel
that
like
I have
if you-
to pay for laundry.
That's silly. I feel like you should, if there's a laundry thing on premises, like you shouldn't have to pay for it. That's confusing.
I know, but yeah, that's how it is. Well,
Fair
know,
enough.
washing companies got to make that money too.
I mean, I guess so. I
Yeah.
don't know. I've never worked for a washing machine
Yeah,
company.
me neither. And I hope I never do. I'm kidding. I'm
kidding.
kidding. I'm kidding.
I mean, there's probably some jobs you can get pretty expensive. I mean, pretty
Yeah.
well paying. Well, I'm pretty excited. I told you this week, before the show, we were talking about Last Chance U on Netflix, the Netflix series.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't have much time to watch shows. I already watched so many shows. I'm going to have less time to watch shows starting tomorrow. Do you know why, good sir?
Why?
Madden comes out tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
The new
yes.
Madden
Are you
comes
getting
out
it?
tomorrow.
Are you getting it during the midnight release?
No, because I got to be here early tomorrow. I'm trying to stay
Oh,
up that late.
that's right.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I forgot we do shows here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not staying up that late. No, they're doing the whole trade-in bonus thing, so I'll bring my Madden 16 in, trade it in. 'Cause,
I can't trade
realistically,
mine in.
I don't play them.
I
again.
can't trade mine in because I don't think they make it on the 360 anymore.
They do,
They
because I have a
do?
PlayStation 3.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
you can
they
trade
haven't
it in.
discontinued the older generation yet.
No, they still
Okay.
bump them out because
Okay.
there's still a heavy amount of people playing that one.
Yeah.
No, yeah, they still bump them out. Yeah, the only thing that changes is you don't get the same. Obviously, first of all, you don't get the next gen stuff. Graphics change. And
I don't really care about
the
that. To be
preview
honest
stuff
with
is
you.
different. You don't get little things like that. Like throughout the year, much like the NBA 2K games, they're going to update the broadcasting. So you get up to date stuff, and it's a whole new broadcast team. So I'm cool. I'm happy about that. But
Who is the broadcast team on this game?
Charles Davis, excuse me, and I would have. Let me look in the meantime. But so they updated like the NBA 2K, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the consoles that like mine and Xbox 360, they're not going to have that. They're not going to have it updated, and the preview stuff. How sometimes they'll do it where the guy runs on the field, the quarterback, and they have the screen of them, like a live action video of them. That stuff, little things like that. It is Charles Davis and Brandon Godine. You recognize his voice. I recognize his voice.
Yeah.
They are the 6th broadcast team in the 28 years of Madden. Pretty cool,
Okay.
right? I think my favorite was, I liked when Madden obviously did it. Madden was good.
Well, it was his game, so
Yeah.
obviously he had to be in it. It was kind of weird to not hear him on the game for the first time, and I was like
Madden, like
yeah,
2006
and I
or
was
whatever.
it took me a while to get used to it,
Mhm.
but I still play the game whenever I get a chance. I don't have as time to play it anymore like you do, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I try to find time.
I remember, Gus Johnson was on one of the broadcast teams, and
Yeah, Gus was on like 2012.
yeah, he was like, he's got running from the cop speed.
I remember that.
That's still probably the best line.
Yeah,
from the game.
They had. Well, I loved Pat Summerall. They had Pat Summerall. They had Al Michaels. They had Tom Hammond, which was a pretty good one. He's very popular for doing like the horse races. He does all the. You recognize him. Gus Johnson, like you said, and then Jim Nantz, most notably recently.
Jim Nantz and Phil Simms.
Yeah, recently, and then Godin just took over, and then otherwise it was like you said, Madden started, and then Chris Collinsworth, Phil Simms, and then now it's Davis. And Phil Simms was on there for a while because he was on there with Nantz and Gus Johnson, wasn't he? Or Collinsworth was on there with Gus Johnson. Yeah, because Jim Nantz was on there with
Phil Simms.
Phil Simms and Collinsworth a little bit. Yeah, no, I'm pretty excited. So that'll be cool. New stadiums. I always like seeing the new stadiums. You'll see that you can use the Vikings' new stadium. I think the Falcons one will be available. Last year's the first year, at least on PlayStation 3, that you could use the Hall of Fame stadium, and you could use the England stadium. So that was pretty cool too. But yeah, I'm pretty excited, man.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna get the game. I really don't know. I don't play video games like that anymore.
Madden's really the only one I do.
Yeah, I don't know, but if I do play it, I'll let you know. But I can't play you online anyway because you have the PS3. I have the.
Yeah, the only game I've ever seen that you could do that is Battlefield. You can play cross consoles, and I'm not huge into the war games in the first place. So.
I used to be. I don't play them anymore.
I never have been really. I've never. I mean, like I said, the only video games I ever really got into were sports games. I have on PlayStation 2. Obviously, I got rid of my other Madden games, but say before I got rid of those, I had every Madden from 2000 through 2017. I'll have so I've got them like every year. So in that sense, that's really the only like that and baseball games. Every once in a while,
I used to play baseball games. I used to play when 2K used to have the baseball series.
Oh yeah, they had they had MVP baseball. They had 2K, and 2K still goes on. I have 2K baseball.
Does it
right
still
now.
go on?
I have 2K16 last year's, not the newest one, but last year's. Yeah, I have that one. Yeah, 2K still it's probably the only one that goes on.
Yeah, 2K.
They stopped MVP.
Oh, did they stop MVP?
Yeah, that stopped in 2007 or something. I remember I had 2000. I had MVP 2004 and 2005, and it was on one of them it was Bonds, and one of them it was Guerrero, maybe Vladimir Guerrero.
You know what used to bug me about the baseball games, the 2K series from the mid to late 2000s? Every time I would play with the San Francisco Giants, Barry Bonds was never on the roster.
I know.
What was up with that? Why, like
you're cheating?
They always had
hit a bomb.
They had like some created player in his place, and I'm like, whoa! I used to always have to create him,
and then he had the exact swing stance.
And then I will always like hit like 50 home runs with Barry Bonds, and he will win rookie of the year. And I'm like, Barry Bonds is not a rookie, but okay, 2K, okay, 2K. If you say so.
Not even close to a rookie.
No.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm pretty excited. I'll have to let you know how Madden goes. I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah, tell me about it more on the Wednesday.
Okay, on the Wednesday, I will.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's start the show. Let's tell them what we're talking about. How about that?
Yeah, we got lots of news for you guys today. Man, action-packed weekend. We're going to recap some preseason action from the past weekend, as well as some news out of New York and Pittsburgh and Buffalo.
Yeah.
Buffalo. We're going to be hitting on all those topics. We're going to start off, though, with the news out of New York. Of course, Josh Brown, the kicker for the Giants, has been suspended for one game by the NFL.
Yeah. So pretty much nobody really knew what the suspension was for. Josh Brown's been a kicker in the NFL for quite a while now. He's in his mid-30s. As many kickers kick pretty far into their 30s. But the ex-wife of Josh Brown told police that the New York Giants kicker had been physically violent with her on more than 20 instances over the past several years, but the NFL said Friday it arrived at a one-game suspension for him, partly because the league wasn't able to grab much more information from his ex-wife and law enforcement during the investigation. So that's the reason as to why he was suspended. Pretty interesting news out of that. Josh Brown was arrested in 2015 on a charge of assault and domestic violence, in which he was suspended one game this year. So.
Yeah, and the Giants knew about Brown's domestic violence, this incident that occurred when they re-signed him to a 2-year deal. So they knew a suspension was coming.
Mm-hmm.
My only question is, why did they re-sign him if they knew this was going on?
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I mean,
yeah, like
you can find kickers off the street.
Exactly,
you know?
like,
and which they're going to have to do.
Yeah, they're going to have to do that anyway.
Yeah,
for one game.
I don't know. I mean, like I'm reading here, it says police were called on multiple occasions to the Browns' residences
over the past. Yeah, I believe in the state of Washington, New Jersey, and St. Louis. Yeah, Missouri. Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Browns said that she had a protection order against her husband, so a restraining order, same sense, I believe. Then she ordered the list dropped, the progress they had made in counseling, and then she said her husband sent a letter in 2014 to friends admitting abusive behavior, lying, made him look bad. Oh, and lying to make her look bad, excuse me. Yeah, it goes a lot deeper than it ever seemed before,
sounds, yeah.
you know? Yeah, there's a 10-month investigation over the last, I think, obviously 10 months, but it started prior to that, obviously going as far back as she claimed 2013. So it's pretty crazy news. That's unfortunate to hear. You know, you never really know what happens behind closed doors.
Yeah, really, I don't know. It kind of, to me, it kind of brings a bad look to the organization. Because,
yes,
you know, we've
seen
these incidents before, you know, with Ray Rice and Greg Hardy, most notably. But, you know, why did it get reduced all the way down to 1 games? That's the question I have for the NFL. I don't understand this.
My biggest thing is I don't see how guys can get suspended. I know, like I said, I know.
Le'Veon Bell's suspension more than Josh Brown.
That's what I'm saying. I know it's against the rules to do the drugs and everything, but I don't see how somebody can, you know, notably have been in trouble for domestic abuse and have less of a suspension than, you know, say a drug test. Just because, in my opinion, I find one much worse than the other. And like I said, I know it's against. I'm not trying to, you know, I'm not going to get into my position on either.
No,
but
I know.
I feel one's worse, and
one of them
I
is
feel
a lot worse.
One game. I think he should. You know, I don't like this stuff in the first place. Domestic abuse isn't okay in many people's eyes. So I think,
even if you're not even a professional athlete, it's never
exactly.
Okay.
I think, you know, I would suspend him for the year. You can't tolerate that stuff.
Yeah, especially like Martavis Bryant has a 1-year suspension for
marijuana, his drug
policy. And you know, Carlos Williams, who we're going to talk about later in the show, is suspended for 4 games, even though he's not with the team. We'll get more into that later. And then, of course, Le'Veon Bell, his suspension got reduced from 4 to 3 for practically the same thing.
Yeah.
And Marcel Darius also, who we're going to get into later in the show. It's like, I just don't know what to make of this, honestly. 1 game suspension for something that has been occurring for more than 1 year, you know, past several years. When I read this report, everything, it really tore me apart to read about Molly Brown, his Josh Brown's ex-wife, and how he treated her during these past several days, and it really tore me apart. And I just don't think a 1 game suspension doesn't suffice for me. But you know, I'm not gonna get it super detailed into my opinion on this, but yeah, I do think it kind of brings a bad look for the New York Giants because they knew this was going on. Any NFL, because you know they had 10-month investigation on this incident. So
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, well, hey, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back, and we'll talk Le'Veon Bell, we'll talk the Bills, and then we'll do our NFL preseason recap kind of deal, okay? Sound good?
Yeah, we're going to get a little more brighter here.
Yeah, we are.
Slightly brighter.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So we'll take our first break, and we'll be right back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
All right, we're back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast and discussion, like we said, about Le'Veon Bell. Pittsburgh Steelers running back had his suspension of 4 games reduced to 3 games, and that was this Saturday, I believe.
Yeah, it was over the weekend.
Yeah, for the second straight year, his suspension has been reduced to 3 games, same as last year. Excuse me. As a Steeler fan, I was hoping the suspension got reduced. I'll take 3. 3's better than 4, And I'm sure he will. He came out and said, quote, "I own up to everything. It's all my fault, and I can't blame anyone for anything. Obviously, I got to learn from this and move on." He did come out and say as to why he missed these tests. He said it was after he hurt his knee, and it was in December, I think he said. Excuse me. And he said that it was between he was doing his rehab and everything, and where he couldn't make it to where they needed him to be.
It was basically travel time. The way, yeah.
Which makes sense when you're injured. I'm not making excuses for the guy or anything like that. I'm just saying that
the way he
at least
said
that
it, though,
makes sense.
The way he said it make it seem like it was an excuse, but when you put all the rehab stuff into it, that's pretty legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I've read that the NFL does a lot of wacky things that nobody can really explain. Is what Roethlisberger was saying.
But then again, Le'Veon Bell did not inform the testers of the drug tests of his travel plans. So he could have did more on that part. Mm-hmm. But what are you gonna do? It's kind of over now.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing that's at least you don't want, like, as a Steeler fan, I don't want to think about it as a football fan or a Bell fan. You don't want to think about it as a fantasy football fan. You want to think about it, but as part of the settlement in terms of the reduction in suspension, Bell will remain in the same stage of his substance abuse policy. So if he gets suspended again, it'll still only be 4 games, not 10. So that's a plus.
That's a plus for him.
If you think he's not going to be able to, get better.
If I was Le'Veon Bell, I would try to avoid that suspension again.
Exactly. Yeah. So
yeah.
So as of right now, he's not eligible to return. Well, he won't be eligible to return. It's not going to change. To the lineup until Week 4, which is Sunday night against the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, to fill the void, you have D'Angelo Williams, you have Fitzgerald Toussaint, in the backfield. So
he was really good in the beginning of the year last season.
D'Angelo? Yeah, he had over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He had 100-something against the Patriots. He had like 78 and 3 touchdowns against the
49ers.
The 49ers.
I know. I remember that game.
I know you do. I remember every aspect of that game. Ooh, man. Wasn't even the most impressive part of that game. Ryan Shazier was. 8 solo tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery. Come on.
Yeah, he was a beast in that game.
He was all over the place.
He was a beast.
But, yes, so Steeler fans can expect to see him, obviously, starting Week 4 against the Chiefs on Sunday night. Those of fans who followed the Steelers last year know that, like you said, D'Angelo did a pretty solid job in filling in for him. Fitzgerald Toussaint has looked good in the preseason, and he looked really good last year. People remember him for that playoff fumble against the Broncos, but he did a lot of good stuff. He tallied 100 yards from scrimmage against the Bengals in that crazy game win in the wild card playoffs. So, excuse me. Oh, sorry, my allergies are really killing me. So, you have that to look forward to. And then, last year, too, the team went 7-3 without Bell. So, being suspended or injured. I think more so the suspension to Martavis Bryant is what hurts them. With there's all the statistics of him in the lineup versus out of the lineup with points and so on. I totally agree.
Forth, it hurts that offense.
I think it hurts to not have them, either of them.
Honestly, though, I don't think there's ever been a time when we have Martavis Bryant, Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger, and Le'Veon Bell. They can't remember.
They played 3 snaps together last year.
3 snaps total.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Imagine if all four of these
Something
guys.
like that. It was single digits.
Imagine if all four of these guys were ever play full season together.
Believe me, man, it's frustrating for me.
They never been able to be on the field at the same time. Can you believe that?
Yeah,
Like,
not really. No, yeah, it's and
they
then
can't
again,
get all the B's together.
again,
man.
as a Steeler fan, you got Brown, you got Bell, you got Bryant, you got Ben, right? And then you add like a guy like I can't think of his name all of a sudden. You had a guy. Well, first off, you have Marcus Wheaton, you have DeAndre Williams, but then you get Ladarius Green on the field. You know what I mean? Like that offense is like a Madden offense.
Yeah, he can't get healthy either. Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Like it's so frustrating. But I will try not to take it too seriously. You know, what I mean, it's just a game. I'm still very excited.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to wait literally a full season to get all these guys on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
no, the Steelers should be okay.
No, I know
they are 7-3 without Le'Veon Bell. Because remember, Le'Veon Bell was suspended to begin the year. I think it was 2 games.
2 games.
And he did get hurt though, which was pretty brutal. But the Steelers still did well.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, and then I'm still, believe me, I'm still super excited for the year, and I can't wait for Le'Veon to come back. If anything, I'm afraid he's going to get hurt again. You know what I mean? It's just that whole be careful.
Him getting his suspension reduced to 3 games, I think it actually
gives him a little bit more time.
It helps Bell to get more healthier, and they're getting him a game sooner. So huge plus for the Pittsburgh Steelers there.
Yeah, like you said, at least they're getting him sooner than they thought.
Yeah, because they're playing at Washington versus Cincinnati and at Philadelphia. 2 of those games are winnable. Cincinnati's the toughest out of those 3.
Yeah.
So
and I mean,
the
Steelers will be without Vontaze Burfict. I'm sorry, the Bengals will be without Vontaze
the guy that
Burfict.
hurt
The Steelers will be
the guy
without
that
Bell.
the guy that hurt Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's a shame. It's a shame. Okay, well, let's move on and let's move to the Bills. Jeremiah,
man,
do you want to fill us in with the Bills news?
It has been an ugly offseason. Pretty much a circus.
It has been lightly like a circus.
It is typically a Rex Ryan type of team now. I'm going to just say that for now because Marcel Darius has informed his team that he's heading to a rehab facility.
Yeah, he is moving into a rehab facility. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and which I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised after being suspended 4 games. We covered that news last week, and I'm really glad. It really helps. It really helps with getting Marcel Darius right because this guy has a mega deal with the Bills that he signed a couple years ago, and he's arguably one of the best interior defensive linemen when he's fully active. So yeah, man,
it's been crazy.
It's been a crazy couple of days for the Buffalo Bills. Like crazy couple of weeks.
Well, I mean, you move from that, and then you look at Carlos Williams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Carlos Williams recently released by them. He was suspended as well by the league for, was it substance abuse?
Substance abuse policy, yeah.
Yeah, so he was released. I mean, he was suspended for the first 2 games of the year, I believe, or the first game. One of them,
and then they got moved up to 4.
Yeah, and then 23 years old. He's a young kid still. He showed up, apparently, you were telling me earlier. He showed up to training camp at 230 pounds.
No, 261 pounds. He got
I'm sorry, the Bills
down.
website has him listed at 230.
Yeah,
he showed up at 261.
Yeah, he got all the way down to 230, yes. He said that the reason for the weight gain is that
hilarious.
The reason for the weight gain is because he was attributed to his wife's his fiance's pregnancy.
Yeah, her food cravings.
So, which I kind of get, but come on, man, you're a professional athlete. Your job is to stay in shape.
Yeah.
Like I get you're trying to cope with your wife and all that, and I get that, but at the end of the day, what is your job? So
yeah, that was my thing always with when Pablo Sandoval was with the San Francisco Giants, right? And he always had the issue with weight. And then he goes to the Red Sox.
And then
he's like, well, I can finally, they were always also on me about weight. And then he ballooned even more, and then he got hurt.
And he's not even
playing.
He's not even playing. He's probably going to get cut at the end of the year by the Red Sox.
Yeah, they could save a lot of money. They have a better fielding base, healthy, better batting guy right now at third. Yeah, I don't want to get too far off of the sport, but, it's the same kind of thing. Like, you're a professional athlete, man. Like, I know it sucks, but, it's what you want to do. I mean, you could be doing a whole lot worse, harder jobs. And so Yeah, he showed up overweight. I mean, lost some weight, but man, he was like you said, already suspended. Was doing himself zero favors, and he got released.
I know when Rex Ryan said they weren't going to give up on Carlos Williams. You know, he has too much. He has a lot of talent.
Yeah, I mean, his rookie year wasn't bad.
And the thing is, it looks like they ended up just gave up on him because it pretty much looked like he wasn't going to make the team at this point with all the signings they have. You know, they got Reggie Bush is probably going to likely be the number 2 guy.
Oh yeah,
with some other young guys there. But Carlos Williams, he will find another team. He just has to get in shape. He had 9 touchdowns, and I think in
last year,
in a few amount of touches.
Last year he gained 517 yards, 93 carries, and he scored 7 touchdowns.
Well, I think he had 2 on the receiving.
2 receiving.
Yeah, total touchdowns.
Yeah. He actually tied our NFL record for he had touchdowns each of his first 6 games. So I mean that's impressive. But the former 5th rounder now finds himself suspended for 4 games and not playing any other games after that because as of right now he is currently unemployed. So,
but I'm telling you right now, a team will sign him, and once he gets in shape, that's all it takes right now is to get in shape.
I think more so he needs to get in shape, and then we'll talk about him getting signed.
I said he needs to get in shape. Yeah. He needs to get his act together because this kid did have some problems too when he was in college. So don't forget about that.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was a first scene thing, but yeah, I mean I think he'll get signed. He just has to get right.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll happen this year, but it will happen. He's still young.
Yeah, I said, he was a rookie last year.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, let's take our last break, and then we will be back to talk and recap quickly the NFL Preseason Week 2 action.
Yeah, we got lots to talk about, yes.
Yeah, we do. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, and now we're going to recap some Week 2 preseason action. Alex?
All right, so we'll give you a recap on the scores right quick. So the Eagles did beat the Steelers at home for the Steelers. They lost 17-0. Not much out of the offense, but again, none of the starters really playing there for the Steelers, so it's what you can expect, I guess, in a sense. The Bengals beat the Lions on the road 30-14. The Bears the Bears lost to the Patriots in Foxborough 23-22. Excuse me. The Browns did lose to the Falcons at home 24-13. The Raiders did not keep up a impressive performance and build on that from last week against the Packers, who will beat them 20-12. The Vikings won on the road against the Seahawks in somewhat of a little revenge game there, 18-11, but Blair Walsh missed another kick wide left.
Another one?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he made up his first kick he made. His second one, it was a 46-yard field goal. Understandable.
Well, good thing it's preseason.
Exactly. Excuse me. 22-18 is the Redskins' Jets score in favor of the home team, the Redskins there. The Cowboys handed it to the Dolphins at home, 41-14. The Chargers handedly beat the Cardinals, 19-3. The Titans lost one at home against the Panthers, 26-16. The Bills definitely took this one and ran with it at home there, 21-0 against the Giants, the interstate rivalry there.
Game happened before Marcel Darius left the stadium,
yep.
So yeah.
All right, the Ravens beat the former Baltimore team, the Colts, 19-18. The Buccaneers beat the in-state Florida rival Jaguars 27-17 with a lot of good play from Mike Glennon there at the backup position. The Texans beat the Saints 16-9, a little bit more from Brock Osweiler there. Showed a little bit more. I still want to see, some better throws from him.
I haven't seen enough, man.
124 yards, a touchdown, 12 for 19. Again, these are skewed numbers in a sense. You have to treat them as such, but much better than last week. And then the Broncos lost to the Niners. They get their first preseason win, 31-24. We'll talk about that more in depth. And then this game as well, 21-20, the Rams beating the Chiefs, going undefeated in LA in the preseason this year. We'll talk about that as well. But first, Jeremiah and I want to get into the Patriots-Bears game. And Jimmy Garoppolo had a second start. Tom Brady was supposed to start this game.
Yeah,
and
apparently.
he cut his thumb, I guess.
Do you buy that?
I do, because I remember that happening in a baseball game one time. In the clubhouse, Matt Cain of the San Francisco Giants cut his hand while he's making himself a snack before a start. And, you know what I mean? It's your throwing hand, that's a problem. It's a preseason game. You don't want to push it. You don't want to infect it. You don't want to inflame it. So if he cut his thumb and throwing hand, whatever, man, don't start. That's fine with me. It led way to another Jimmy G start, and I want to say he started off slow, but he ended very good, tallying 16 for 21, 181 yards, and a touchdown. He looked good. Did you watch some of his highlights? Did he look good to you?
Yeah, he played like a game manager, like I expect him to play this year.
Yeah, but see, he plays like game manager, but he's got the arm to really hit those intermediate to deep throws too. Game manager, you think about the check down.
He does have the talent to throw the ball downfield, but as of right now, this point in his career, Jimmy Garoppolo, he just has to be a game manager. He doesn't have.
He has to limit the mistakes.
He doesn't have to win the game. He just has to play not to lose.
Yeah, and well, I mean, you got to be careful to play not to lose.
Well,
but he has to play. He has to limit the mistakes. That's the
pretty much
thing.
Do not turn the ball over.
Yeah, and that's what. So far, that's what he's done. He, like we said, 16 for 21, 181 yards and a touchdown. He looked very good. Moving on to a game that the quarterback unfortunately didn't win, but he still looked really good, and that's Browns quarterback RG3. Like we said, the Browns did lose that game 13-24 to the Falcons, but RG3 looked good. 6 for 8, 96 yards. He had 2 touchdown passes.
Yeah, one of them a 50-yard touchdown pass to Terrell Pryor.
His one and only catch. And then Gary Barnidge had a beautiful pass.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. It was such a beautiful pass to the corner of the end zone.
It was a dime.
Dilfer dime right there in the front of the end zone. So the pylon front corner, just perfectly thrown pass.
I don't know, man. Do you think RG3 is back?
I saw a report that said, the RG3 finally looks like he's playing, having fun again.
He looks good. He looked really fun.
He ran the ball 3 for 36, 3 times 36 yards, and he slid.
Yeah.
He looked good. He looked impressive.
I don't know, man. It looks like the Browns may have themselves a quarterback now, finally.
Yeah, he looked impressive, man. I was really excited to see it.
Remember, man, the Cleveland teams are winning now. Cow's got a championship. Indians are leading the AL Central.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
the Browns time might be coming.
It might be coming for them to go 500.
Yeah, go 8-8, baby.
All right, moving to the Redskins New York Jets game. Like we said, the Redskins did win that one 22-18. I want to talk about for a second Bryce Petty. He had a very impressive game. 16 for 26, 242 yards, and a 2 touchdown performance there, compared to Geno Smith 6 for 13, 47 yards and a pick. Do you think and he had 1 rush for 0 yards. But do you think that Bryce Petty might be moving towards taking that number 2 spot from Geno Smith?
Yes, finally. Because I think we kind of brought this up in the last show.
We've talked about
last
it before,
week.
yeah.
I said that if Geno Smith doesn't perform well, and if Bryce Petty happens to close the gap, I think the Jets are going to give up on Geno Smith and eventually cut him. And I think it's getting close to that part. Dude, Bryce Petty, he didn't look this good last year.
No,
he didn't.
Like I've told you before, coming from Baylor, that he had to learn a lot in terms of
exactly.
NFL offense.
He had to learn a whole new system that he wasn't used to.
Yeah, not ideology.
Terminology. I was like ideology.
Yeah, terminology, style of play.
Yeah.
Like I was saying with Baylor, I read a report. It's just catch and throw. It's so different.
Which is good for them in the college football, but NFL you can't do that a lot.
Yeah, and you can't. You'll get figured out real quick.
The way that Bryce Petty looked in this game, he has improved from so much. He looks like he's adjusting well to the game, learned to the offense, and I think he is the
definition.
He is definitive.
Yeah,
yes,
okay,
thank you.
Found it.
Definitive backup for the New York Jets, because we've seen Geno Smith before. We've seen how he played over the past 3 years, and at times Geno Smith is really good. But he's also really terrible.
Yeah, he had a touch. He had a touchdown. No,
when he's
he
terrible,
had a pass to
it
the
is
end zone, but that was last game.
When he's terrible, he is tough
bad
to watch.
When he's good, he's not bad. When he's bad, he's bad.
Even when he's good, he's still kind of worries you a little bit.
Yeah, you're waiting for that mistake.
Exactly. So, yeah, I do think Geno Smith's time at New York is coming to an end.
I think if Petty can keep this up, yeah.
If he keeps it up for one more game, I think Geno Smith is going to be one of those final roster cuts.
Well, I mean, you think you might want to try to trade him first. Especially a team that needs a quarterback.
Who are you going to get for him?
A team that needs a quarterback.
Yeah, but who are you going to get for him? Like
get something for him.
What, like a 6th-round pick?
It's better than nothing if you cut him.
I guess.
You know what I mean? All right, moving on to somebody who has done nothing but impress us so far in his first 2 starts, because he started game 1, came in not long after Tony, Mr. Romo, he looked good, 4 for 5, 49 yards. Romo looked good. But that's Dak Prescott, rookie quarterback for the Cowboys. 12 for 15, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 2 touchdowns passing. Just a gun, long throw to
was a beast.
That long throw to Bryce Butler for 58, and then he had the touchdown pass to him the next play. He had that beautiful touchdown pass to Des Bryant. He had a goal line sneak for a touchdown, and then he had it looked longer than it was.
I think it was like a 22 yard.
20 yards. Yeah, he ended 3 for 28 for 2 touchdowns on the ground. Man, he looked good. And what's most impressive to me about Dak is he had the arm strength, he had the mobility, his vision so far, his vision, his progressions, and then his movement in the pocket, not his mobility outside, his movement in the pocket. He's stepping up. He's stepping around rushes.
He's playing like a seasoned veteran.
Yeah, he's playing like, not necessarily a seasoned veteran. He's playing like not a rookie. He's playing like somebody
He looks like the best rookie in this class.
He so far has been the best quarterback of this class.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we'll talk about Goff in a minute. Wentz, unfortunately, didn't play this week because he
had
has
a
chip in his
hairline fraction, yeah.
And then Hackenberg still didn't get any time with the Jets. Unfortunately, we heard he might. Unfortunately, he didn't. There's not really many other rookies that are notable as much, as those.
Driscoll?
Driscoll, we'll get into him too. But, it was those two. Dak, not as much, but he's made himself notable. And he had a perfect passer rating, 158.3. He looked
This is
good.
Impressive. I think he has like 6 touchdowns and only 5 incompletions in the whole preseason.
I'd be happy to look at that in 1 second.
No, I seen it in a couple of tweets and I seen it in a couple of articles. Dude, to get
his stat line.
Well, I'm talking about 6 total touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And he's only threw 5 incompletions. That is honestly amazing. And you see what he started. He didn't start this game, but the way he played against the Rams in Week 1, we were like, okay, well, can you even repeat that performance? He played even better.
Yeah, can you repeat that performance? Exactly.
He did it one better. I'm telling you right now, Tony Romo, if he doesn't perform, say he gets off to the season a bad start, right? Pressure's going to be on Tony Romo because fans are going to start calling for Dak Prescott. I wouldn't be surprised if that
might, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, but it is Tony Romo's team right now.
Mm-hmm. And
we don't know how Tony Romo's going to play because he is getting up there in age too.
Yeah, he is. So yes, Dak was 10 for 12, 139 and 2 touchdowns, okay? In this game he was 12 for 15. So yes, he has 5 incompletions to 6 touchdowns, like you said.
Yeah, you thought I was lying?
I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, no, I checked it before we went on the air.
Yeah, and then 139 yards, 199 yards. He's getting close to having a pretty solid preseason.
Hey, Dak Prescott for preseason MVP.
Hey, yeah, man, I'm with you on that. All right, moving towards, I want to go into, before we get to the Broncos, I want to get to the Rams because I want to talk a little bit more about Goff. He
looked better.
He looked better, but it was more of the same. He threw his first touchdown pass in the NFL, albeit the preseason, but it was more of the same from last week.
Which was the game winner.
Yeah, it eventually was the game winner, but it was. He's not getting help. 8 of 12, 4 of those. Shoot, 4 of those could have been completions.
He could have went 12 of 12.
He could have been. Yeah, I saw 3 screen drops. He had an ugly fumble, but he was, his line didn't protect him as much as, it wrapped around him. He tripped. I don't quite know how he fumbled the ball, but he's still making rookie mistakes. But he hasn't looked bad, like it hasn't been his fault, But believe me, man, I watched so many plays of that game where people just dropped the ball. He was
in a problem during the Cowboys game.
Yeah, Cunningham dropped it. You had Brian Quick dropping passes.
Well, they got no receivers over there.
Not as much as you would hope, yeah. And it was just ridiculous. I was just like, man, give the guys give him something. Like if
Yeah,
you're gonna
give
get
him
2
help.
yards, at least catch the ball.
Yeah, get him help over there. He doesn't have that true number one receiver. Like I know they got Tavon Austin, but Tavon Austin's a slot guy.
And Tavon didn't. I don't know if he didn't play, but
I don't know, but
he didn't register a catch. So
no, but still though, they don't have a true number one guy there. All they have is a bunch of number 3 receivers.
they have 2s and 3s because you have a lot of small, quick guys, and then you
Yeah.
have somebody like Brian Quick.
Most
and
of these
Kenny
guys-
Britt, who are big bodies, but they're not number 1s.
Yeah, they're not. They don't have a true
Kenny
number
Britt
one
was
guy.
drafted to be number 1, but he never really turned into
Yeah,
that.
he never turned it. Yeah,
So it was. I want to see more from him, but I want to see them do something for him. You know, he ended up 8 for 12, 82 yards and a touchdown. Somewhat skewed numbers because he his third series he had 8 yards or 9 yards or something. But before we move on, I just want to say Nick Foles' return to playing the Rams after getting released. 18 for 22, 133 yards. Pretty clean game, if you ask me.
all right.
He played good.
He did.
He played impressive. All right, so the last game we'll cover before we get out of here, 49ers and Broncos. We went into this, we previewed this as the game with 2 of the most notable quarterback battles, and one being very bad and one being very good.
Well, I don't know. They're both kind of bad.
Well,
now.
not necessarily bad, but
One got a lot worse.
One stayed bad.
Well, no, I think one got worse than it originally did, and then the better
You
one.
mean the Niners?
Yeah.
So the Niners got
The
worse
Niners-
than it was.
Oh my God,
The
yeah.
Broncos were more so. They
It's
had a
still-
chance to get a more known starter, and they didn't.
Let's just
They're
say this.
still in a solid
yeah,
position.
let's just say this: the quarterback battle in Denver. It's still I didn't see enough to.
Yeah,
see
Simeon
who-
looked good, but he threw an ugly interception.
Yeah, he did.
He was 10 for 14. What I like about him is, besides the interception, he doesn't put the ball in harm's way much. He's very good at checking down, but he gets yardage from checking down. He's 10 for 14, 75 in that ugly interception, like I said. Mark Sanchez didn't do anything. I mean, he played well. He's 10 for 17, 120 yards, but he took 3 sacks. He didn't do anything to say, okay, Simeon didn't play well. This is my job. He didn't go out there and do that. He played well, but he didn't take it, you know? The most impressive quarterback for the 3 of them was Paxton Lynch, who,
Yes,
in my opinion,
I do agree with you on
in my
that.
opinion, is probably the second best behind Dak, second best rookie quarterback so far this preseason. He was 15 for 26, 113 yards. He threw 2 touchdowns. He had a pick to end the game. They were trying to drive. He threw it a little high, understandable. But he's flashed great arm strength. He's done what Dak has done, and we know his mobility, but he's looked really good in the pocket. And he's limited his mistakes too. So you had Mark Sanchez, who looked good in the first game. You had Trevin Simeon, who looked just probably as good as Sanchez in the first game.
He played well enough.
Yeah, and then you had Lynch, who looked pretty solid in the first game too. Nobody really stood out. Then you had this game where Lynch stood the most out, and you're like, man, who's going to be the starter in this one? And then you move over to the Niners, and you had another poor performance from Gabbard. He's 6 for 9, 69 yards. He did nothing to
He did nothing to solidify himself.
Yeah, he did nothing to solidify himself as a starter. He did nothing to, introduce any excitement in the offense. Driscoll, 6 for 7, 66 yards, looked a little bit better than last year. Their most impressive quarterback was the guy they signed on Monday.
Christian
Ponder. He's 7 for 8, 86 yards, 1 touchdown. He had a pretty nice pass for a touchdown.
That was a pretty good touchdown pass too.
Yeah,
that was sweet.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was
how
not 40 yards. Was it? Yeah, it was 40 yards.
How is your best quarterback going to be a guy you just signed off the street?
Yeah, and then he had a rushing touchdown too.
Exactly.
Like
that's embarrassing to the quarterbacks you have on the roster already.
Yeah, and that's not saying anything against Christian Ponder. I mean, I've always liked Christian Ponder.
Well, I know I'm not. Yeah,
I'm not saying you are either.
Nothing against Christian Ponder. It's just that Christian Ponder wasn't with this team.
He's been here since Monday.
Exactly.
And it's
Gabbard
Chip Kelly's
and Kaepernick.
Offense is intricate.
Exactly. And Kaepernick, of course, didn't play again.
Yeah, he was throwing in warm-ups. He's apparently going to play next game.
I don't
So
know.
he better do something.
I think Kaepernick's time in San Francisco, I would be shocked if he's on the team by the end of the preseason because he's just.
Oh, man, I can't see that.
So?
Because, again, they'd have to trade him. There's too much money there to just release him. They would have done it already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because especially that is you got to keep him on the team in case that's something.
I just feel like the organization doesn't want Kaepernick to play. That's just
if that's the case, then don't start him. Let him sit there.
I don't know. That's just a conspiracy. I feel like I kind of see the resemblance of RG3's last season in Washington when
they just let him sit there.
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling they're doing that with Kaepernick.
Yeah, I understand that.
But honestly, though, if Kaepernick does play in the third preseason game,
He will.
then which I
He
think
better do something.
Which I think he will. He better play pretty much the best game of his life, because if he wants to play
It's preseason life.
well, I know. But if he really wants to be the starter, which I can't really speak for him,
Mm-hmm.
then I think this is his time to shine. This is Kaepernick's time to shine. Come on, man. That's embarrassing. You can't have Christian Ponder be your best quarterback on the team.
After literally getting with the team a week
Yeah, exactly.
prior.
You can't do that. Blaine Gabbert, he played well last year, but come on. There's a reason why Jacksonville cut him a couple years ago. There's a reason.
Oh, Gabbert,
or no, there's a reason why they traded him to the Niners. I know.
It's true.
So there's a reason why, and there's a reason why Kaepernick hasn't even. He got benched last year, so
Yeah, he wasn't playing well.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to preview all of these wonderful games leading into actually our Thursday episode, right?
Yes, Thursday episode. We're
Yeah.
going to preview some Week 3 action. Of course, Week 3 is
The biggest week for starters,
The biggest week
usually.
for starters,
Yeah.
which is the dress rehearsal. Yes,
Yeah.
this is when coaches and teams, they prepare like it's an actual game. They pretty much like a it's let's just say this. Most starters, they play usually 2 quarters.
Yeah, it's a dress rehearsal.
Just 2 quarters. Sometimes they play 3, but
They play at least one full.
one full half.
I would say
but
it
yeah.
really depends on the
This is
starters.
probably- yeah,
Rodgers
so-
might play one full. Roethlisberger probably play one full. It really depends on the starters. Like if Le'Veon was playing, I don't know if he is. I'd probably say not as much because he's coming back from an injury. So, but this is definitely the game they play most. And you have the Niners playing the Packers.
Yeah.
So Kaepernick's gonna have to come and he always killed the Packers.
He always has.
So
Always has.
maybe he can-
So
maybe he can show some of that.
Maybe this is the game when he really impresses Chip Kelly and be like, "Oh, this is my guy."
We'll see.
Yeah.
But on that note, we are going to save the rest of the talk for our Thursday episode, and we're going to preview it then. But we're going to get out of here. As always, you can find us online at the GSMCpodcast.com. That's where all of our network shows are. You can listen to my show, the football with Jeremiah and myself. He has baseball. You can listen to sports, and myself is me and Ben, sports and soccer. So we do those shows separately.
Oh, and this is the last week where our shows are going Monday through Thursday, starting next week. I think we're starting on Tuesday, I believe.
We'll see when that's happening.
Okay.
We don't know.
We'll
the
have more information on that later
Our
in the
schedule might change, so we might
Yeah.
shift days. We might go Tuesday, Thursday. So
Yeah.
it would be Tuesday, Thursday,
Friday.
Saturday.
Yeah, well, no, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, well, hey, we're going to get out of here. But like I said, YouTube, you can find us there at the GSMC Podcast Network, GSMC Football Podcast. You can find us on Twitter, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Google Play at the GSMC Football Podcast, as well as on Facebook at the same handle as YouTube and Twitter, Instagram, GSMC_football. Jeremiah, as always, I'm Alex. Do you want to say anything to the fans?
No, man. All I got to say is that I am Jeremiah, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked.
We will
be
be
here to preview the AFC South.
Yes, and I'm really torn on who I'm going to pick. But you guys, stay tuned to see who I have winning the division.
All right, guys. See you next episode.